I have hundreds of whiskies, but there are 5 whiskies that whenever they run out, I'm getting another. Some people call this the perma-shelf whiskies because they're good value, available, and very, very tasty. So if you're interested into what those are and you don't want to have your wallet just absolutely demolished by buying hundreds of whiskies, only end up buying these 5, this is the video to watch. So hit like, hit subscribe, and let's jump in. So the first whiskey is in that light, floral, and fruity category. It's mainly from ex-bourbon casks. It's a 12-year-old, 46.3%, and unchill filter, natural color, and fantastic whiskey. I love it. It's just a reliable go-to when people come to the house, want something really nice, like I know they like whiskey. I always get this. So it is the Deanston 12. In fact, I prefer this over the Aaron 10. I mean, I'm gonna get some sort of comments for that, but I think I like the malty part of this. It's like got that light, the white fruits and stuff, but it definitely has that sort of biscuity cereal part. But you know, I have a lot of whiskeys. In fact, this entire shelf is kind of dedicated to that light and fruity kind of arena, and this is at the very top of that list. So why is it light and fruity? So this is mainly aged in ex-bourbon casks, and look, I love first fill casks, obviously. First fill, the channel. The first time you put whiskey into a cask, it's good first fill, and then the second time you put it, it's good your second fill. Your second fill is a little bit more subtle, which means the spirit speaks a little louder. If you've watched my distillation video or my how whiskey is made video, you'll know that there are 2 big parts of how the whiskey flavor is made. It's from the distillation and the cask, and sometimes a lot of whiskey are almost kind of like, and sometimes it's what you want, like they're overcast, they're sherry bombs, they're like red wine bombs or whatever, become too much that it's hard to find that signature spirit. Whereas in ex-bourbon cask, the spirit speaks. However, it's brave. A distillery has to be very confident in their spirit. Just a really nice finish. It's long. It's good stuff. I don't know why I don't talk about it more, but I should. Maybe it'll be very boring though if every video is just like Deanston 12 is amazing. It's great. What do you think about it? Let's go to the next one. Okay, this next whiskey is, in terms of whiskey enthusiasts, could be controversial. Look, there's all these things we like to tick as whiskey enthusiasts. Unchill filter, natural color, 46%. This one's actually 43%. And I'm totally fine with that. This is one of the whiskies I've taken to multiple tastings. I host tastings throughout New Zealand. I think I did 4 last year that sold out, and when I had to choose a whiskey in that kind of like rich and round and spiced and cherry cask, every time I went with this whiskey. People say it's almost like an alternative to Macallan without the big price tag. It's a 12-year-old, and if you haven't guessed it yet, it's aged solely in sherry oak casks, and I believe everything from this distillery is in sherry casks, and that is the Tamdhu 12. Look, it's one I always buy again. When it runs out, I buy another. It's just that classic that's there, that if I just want a great sherry cask whiskey, it's great. And I also find that there's a level of complexity to the Tamdhu 12 that I don't get in other sherried whiskies. There's sort of an elegance. Oh, it's great stuff. This has converted a lot of people. A lot of people have come to the house, they want to try a whiskey. I try them with something light and fruity, and they're like, try them with something peaty and smoky. You know, for me, peaty and smoky is what the door I went through. But the amount of people who try this and think, oh, they get it, it clicks, they get there's something to single malt. So look, if you're into, say, Glenallachie, Glendronach, Macallan, this could be right up your alley. Tamdhu. I also really like the cask strength. The 15-year-old's also good. I have seen it get a little bit more expensive though these days. 18-year-old definitely more expensive. Let's jump into the next one. I just need to tell you about today's sponsor that's made this video possible. It is Pre-Alcohol by ZBiotics. So as you know, I'm a big fan of drinking quality over quantity for the flavors, but sometimes it can sneak up on you, especially at a tasting where I have mates around and we try all these like amazing top shelf drams. So that's why I always hydrate, get lots of sleep, and I sometimes will have a Pre-Alcohol by ZBiotics. It's a genetically engineered probiotic made by PhD scientists designed to break down the byproduct of alcohol that builds up in your gut, and it's that byproduct is what can leave you feeling off the next day. So if you're interested or even not interested, if you can do me a favor by clicking on the link in the description or scanning the QR code right here, and you'll get 15% off, free shipping, and if you're still not really that sure, there's also a money back guarantee. So it's like win-win. Anyway, back to whiskey. If there was a theme bottle for my whole channel, and anyone who follows First Fill Whiskey, you straight away know exactly what this whiskey is. It's peaty and smoky, it's from Islay, and it's one that's probably become so popular after I've talked about it that on my Discord there's like memes about it. It is from the Kilchoman distillery from Islay. They're like a farm, like the barley's like farmed around the distillery. It's very cool. 46% unchill filter, natural color. It's peaty and smoky, but it does bring in some of those sherry casks. And it's a Kilchoman Sanaig. This whiskey, whenever it runs out, I replace it. It's one that, surprisingly, out of pretty much most peaty whiskies, even though the ABV's higher, so it doesn't make sense. Like, you know, a lot of people go, oh, it's too burny, whatever. For some reason, when I've done tastings and I've had a lot of beginners there and enthusiasts, this seems to always do well. It's just great. Look, there are a lot of peaty whiskies I can buy, and I always replace this. It's the smoke, but it comes in with this really nice warmth afterwards. It's almost like you're having your steak and then you're having your nice glass of wine with the steak. It's like the pairing. The sherry casks just blend in perfectly. It's not over sherried. And what I would add is just that farminess, the malty kind of biscuitiness to it. Great stuff. Let's jump into the next one. Okay, now we're going into that wood and grain category, and this is fascinating. And then after this, I'll tell you my #1 whiskey I've bought the most over the last 2 years. But we'll talk about that at the end of the video. First, let's talk about the wood and grain. So if you remember from my channel, I mostly talk about Scotch whiskey. I mostly talk about single malt. I'm a big advocate for New Zealand whiskey, Australian whiskey, all that stuff. But last year I did a video on bourbons for Scotch lovers. Bourbon was the realm I hadn't really explored. And I have a theory, like if the Scots are having porridge for breakfast and cereal, like it makes sense. Deanston makes sense. Like the palate makes sense. It's your toast, maybe even like your Marmite kind of thing. Like it makes sense. Whereas with Americans, what people tell me, I don't know.
How did this become breakfast in my country?
2 pancakes with hot syrup and butter.
A luscious cinnamon roll filling.
All that stuff. Which whiskies does that remind you of? It is bourbons. So last year I did a video on what are my top 10 bourbons. I went through, I tasted them all, and the whiskey that came out #1 was the Knob Creek 9. So this is actually from the Beam Distillery, but I find this is like one of the best value ones because it's bottled at 50%. It's got this really nice nutty flavor. So you can see that this is like nearly out. So I was thinking I need to buy another bottle, but I caught up with one of my patrons recently and he brought me over a Booker's. So it's like the fancy one. And this is really nice. This is not from a distillery. This is literally a whiskey enthusiast. Great stuff. But he was telling me like, the thing is, it is very pricey. There is a whiskey in between the Knob Creek and the Booker's, and in New Zealand, I can actually get it for a very similar price to the Knob Creek 9. And it almost makes the Booker's not make sense. And that is the Baker's 7. This one's 53.5%. I've really enjoyed what I've had so far. This was great value. And I think if I was to have one bourbon on the shelf, yeah, I think that's the one I would have just one of. But I'm keen to hear from you guys. Like, what's your like one bourbon you would have? Something about my palate likes what Beam's doing. Tell me what your pick is. Okay, so this next one needs kind of an asterisk because it is probably the most popular whiskey in the world for enthusiasts. If you asked anyone what is their favorite whiskey of all time, will probably be this. And because of that, a lot of people can't get it. Recently, especially this year, it's becoming more available. I'm finding more and more people can get their hands on it. It's kind of like finally the investors and the cask collector people are kind of like, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're spending their money on AI, I don't know, startups or something now, and they're spending less on like whiskey casks, which is great. Great for us as whiskey drinkers. All my bottles are open. I probably shouldn't open them all, but I want to drink whiskey. It's for sharing, enjoying. The whole thing of this channel is about sharing, enjoying. Anyway, this one's from Campbelltown. So now we're going into more the heavy funk side of things. And this is kind of the classic. It's going to be the Springbank 10, like obviously. The thing is about this whiskey, when it runs out, I will always buy the Springbank again. But again, if you can't get it, I have a whiskey that honestly, I enjoy 95% as much. And that is Craigellachie 13. If you want something just big, worm tubs, it's got a lot of meatiness to it, bold, I'm finding like, when I'm not in the mood for a peaty whiskey, but especially here in winter in New Zealand right now, or if you're going into winter in the Northern Hemisphere soon, this is just, it's just a lot of flavor. It's definitely one of those whiskeys that it's a slow, what I call a slow whiskey, not a fast whiskey. Charlie McLean kind of talked about this, like how certain whiskeys, you know, you can have at 6 o'clock or whatever. They're just good go-to. You're reading a book or something. And sometimes it's late at night. You want to talk to your mates, get into deep conversation about, I don't know, who's the best Dragon Ball Z character? You know, important stuff like that. What's the best starter Pokemon? That kind of stuff. The really important issues. You want a good dram to go along with it. Really long finish. It's funny the fruit's there, but it's not like super sweet. Yeah, it's sort of like a pickled fruit or something. I love it. On to the next one. So those are my 5 whiskies with, you know, a few other ones I sort of mentioned along the way. But really the bonus whiskey, the whiskey that I've actually bought the most of in the last few years, and one I've talked about a lot on this channel, is this one. It is from Ben Romick, and this is the Ben Romick Cask Strength. This is batch 3. I think it's around a 10-year-old. This one's 60.6%, and they come in batches. It's fantastic stuff. It's heavy, kind of similar to the Craigellachie and Springbank. Some people call Ben Romick the Springbank of Speyside, because that's the thing about Ben Romick. It's not as funky normally as Springbank, but it's almost like they're balancing out a little bit. So I'm reaching for this whiskey a lot, and it's actually available. I can get it in New Zealand. I think I got this one from Whiskey Galore, and it's just great whiskey. But I'm keen to hear from you. What are the whiskies that you will always keep on the shelf? Even if you're like me, you love exploring, are there certain whiskies you've never left that shelf? Write a comment down below, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks to my patrons for making this video possible. But above all, make sure you share and enjoy. Share your whiskey.